Okay, we are doing a couple of laps of the Nurembergring with the new livery on the car, remembering the late great Sabine Smith. Got a picture of her on either side of the car, as well as we popping round, get a decent shot of the car to use as the thumbnail. There it is. This was we'd had an out lap. This was our first flying lap and we made a mistake there. Best of it is, I lapped a second faster than I had done any time previously in this session, and both my laps had a spin. Did do a couple of laps in the dark as well, where we didn't damage the car. Did have a few off tracks, but nothing that damaged the car, no contact with barriers or anything. But big thank you to Roger Morton for the paint for the R8, ready for the Nurembergring 24 hours at the end of the month. Car does get a little airborne in places with the bumps on the circuit. But the more laps I'm turning, the more I'm getting used to the circuit, and lap times are coming in the right direction. As you heard there, we was third in the session. Not sure how many people had actually set a time during the session. I was third in our class, 28 seconds shy of the fastest, but we have got some fast guys on the team. It's just a case of us slower guys not taking any damage over the 24 hours on this circuit. I think outright pace isn't everything. Some of the faster guys are going to be hitting the barriers and probably spending 15-20 minutes in the pits with damage, having it repaired. So a couple of laps, we're a minute a lap slower, over 12 laps, and then they crash. Then we're going to gain that time back while they sit in the pit lane, which, as I say, bit of consistency and keeping the car safe is much better than outright pace. Although we have got a couple of guys, well, got one guy, probably two guys on the team who are super quick, and the rest of us are reasonable pedallers. Not the fastest, but we can keep the car safe, it will work fine. This, from what I can make out, it was just coming daylight when I jumped in the session. It was a little bit dark at the start and then gradually became daylight, so I think it's probably, looking at the stint patterns everybody's seeming to favour, replicates the early morning stint that I'd be doing. Through the carousel, or the first carousel. You can see from the camera shot at certain angles that the sun is low in the sky and really reflecting off the circuit.
One gallon remaining. We're running on fumes, mate. The track temperature is increasing. It's now 22 Celsius.
Just ignore crew chief. We'll switch him off. There we go. Make things a lot better. Won't be too long before we're up to my favourite part of the circuit, although this part is good. You can see there how low the sun is, the way it's shining on the road. Second carousel. So almost to the end of the first 2 laps we got in on this hosted session. Now we're on to the main long straight, 100 and creeping up, there we are, 160 miles per hour. Do reach up to about 165 before we get to the braking zone. And then my favourite part of the circuit is at the end of here. Here we come into my favourite part of the circuit all told. Seem to nail that pretty well every time, got used to that part well. And as we go over the line, it's a 907.301. Will be interesting as the sun's going down and as the sun's coming up whether we get any fog over the circuit. Those are the 2 times when it's been cold and warming up and being warm and cooling down where the fog is liable to appear. As you see, we made a mistake on the fastest lap we did. Have to iron those out because, of course, get too many incident points, you get a stop and go penalty. This coming up again is another nice part of the circuit that I've got used to a little more now. This part here, I quite like this part of the circuit as well. You can hear the engine revs rise and fall as you hit the bumps. Now this part flat, and then you get to a right-hander up here where you have to slow down a little bit because the back end gets loose. As you can see, with third in class, you can see the 03 in the front window, which is the positioning class that we are. As I said before in a previous test, once we come to the weekend of the 24 hours, we will live stream the whole race. If I have a kip, I will leave the live stream running. You will hear my teammates talking to each other. We will be aiming to have at least 2 people as a minimum awake all the way through the race, so you've got 1 driving and 1 spotting. Just have to remember when it's my turn for spotting to fast forward until it comes live. Once you get out of the car and somebody else gets in, it drops behind a little to what you're actually seeing, to what's actually happening. Sounds a lot better tonight. We realised that the sound on the Windows side had dropped the volume on iracing, so you can hear the car in its full glory tonight. Oh, this morning. It's 25 past 3 already. Through the burst of the carousels once more. Bit of a mistake there and a lock up. As I said in the previous test video when we was doing it in the Rosberg livery, 174 corners. It takes some laps to get used to where you are. But slowly getting to know the track a little bit better now. They're just revving the engine a little, changing down on the bump, and it spikes the revs a little bit. Through the second of carousels, soon be round now to the long straight once more. And we as a team have been thinking if we are in the bottom split, then we've got a chance of a victory at the weekend, this weekend. It would be great to bring a victory home for the whole of the Matthews Logistics team, be they ATS, ETS drivers or the sim racing side. There we are, across the line, and even with a mistake, 8:58.923, 16th overall, third in class. And we'll show you the rundown of the time. So you've got cars there, not sure what cars they are, but they're doing 8:09.2. The fastest of our class of car was a 8 minutes 30.509. Second place 8:43.692. We was third with an 8:58.924. Fourth in our class was a 9:15.281. So we're definitely not the slowest. A lot of drivers, it was all on track, but a lot of them were crashing. So hope you enjoyed watching this little test session, the debut of the Matthews Logistics livery. Please give us a like, give us a share, drop us a comment. 170 corners actually on the tracks, not 174, so 16.12 mile track, 170 turns. Thank you very much for watching. Until you join us again next time, goodbye for now.